Okay, ready? All right, so going around the room, Sally, where did you identify yourself?
Right in the center.
Right in the center. And where did others identify you?
Pretty darn close.
Pretty darn close. Are you more analyzing, more supportive?
Looks like a little more supportive.
Okay. And that seems to resonate with, because you were in the middle. And so supporters often make that like, well, I'm really kind of in the middle, which makes sense. Like,
So I fell right below the controlling line in the promoting line. Like I said, I should have been in the controlling line. There's a couple that came pretty close to where I initially had myself. However, the majority were in the controlling.
All the ones who work for you?
And above me too. And one in between and it's interesting the roles, obviously, because we have one in between I got analyzing, and that's just from the type of work that I do with that particular person.
yeah, and that happens a lot. So you'll have onesie, twosie roles. Like, in order to become a Lean Six Sigma black belt, as Talitha can now attest, you need a lot of statistics. And I was actually very good at statistics. Is it where my love is? No. My love is change management, my love is lean, my love is making things better. But that doesn't mean that I can't be an analytic. It's just not where that's not where I spend the majority of my time.
So on paper, when the test rolled out, it came out that I was on the cusp of promoting and supporting. As we were discussing it more, I felt like I was more promoting on the cusp of controlling, and that's pretty much where I fell with the feedback I got. At home, I'm certainly in this controlling.
So a lot of women feel that way. A lot of women take on that dual role where at home, when they're responsible for a majority of things, it's a very different thing. But in general, you're a promoter. That's excellent. Kelly.
I fell in the promoting section and everybody put me there too, but I'm a little bit closer to the controlling too with a few people.
And we were actually talking about this, Amanda and Tamara and I were talking about this. Traditionally, admins and people who have been in an administrative role, if you're a good admin, tend to be in the controlling space. So when you have the administrivia, you need to be in that space. Sometimes you're there by necessity, and sometimes you're there by design. So that makes sense. Alicia.
And initially I got the promoting, but I'm put in the supporting.
I mean, if you think about it, same quadrant. So people up above the quadrant tend to be much more formal and tend to have a much more rigid way of looking at things. Promoters and supporters, Kelly and I especially, go back and forth between the promoter supporter. So me, as usual, running late because I've gotten lost, and Kelly, as usual, checking to make sure I'm not in a ditch. Right? So, and that happens a lot. So, Ernie.
I was promoting when I did the assessment, and two people put me there near the intersection there of all four, and then one person did controlling and analyzing.
Okay, all right, so you've got mostly promoting, and you identified yourself as mostly promoting with some other aspects, and that obviously happens.
It was pretty much a slam dunk in the controlling area.
Okay. You are my poster child for supporting, for controlling.
Yeah. A couple people put me on the line with analyzing, and I'm always, probably because I'm always saying we have to have the data, we have to have the data. I don't like to do the data, but I'm always asking for it.
Yeah, and so there's a value to that, and you recognize that value. You don't necessarily have to be the person who produces the data.
I never want to be the person who produces it.
So that takes you out of the analyzing. You can have a respect for some of the other quadrants. I have a tremendous respect for analyzers, but it doesn't have to be my world. Yeah, Kevin.
Everybody pretty much saw me the way that I see myself, which is probably good. They knew better than to question me. No, promoting and controlling right on the line there.
Yeah, okay, so that makes sense.
Fits with the job,
Yeah. Charlotte.
I'm near the middle, but still in the controlling quadrant.
Yeah, still in the controlling, and that resonated with you as you started to go further up. Yeah, okay.
So I scored high in both supporting and controlling initially when I did it, and then the change feedback was some supporting, some controlling, one actually in the middle between controlling and promoting.
So and that might have to do with role, and then we have to further define for personality.
Pretty on target with what I said between promoting, supporting, maybe leaning more towards supporting.
And And that's interesting because, RNs tend to be, controllers.
Yeah,
Because
well,
if you think about,
it's interesting because I feel like Amy in my personal life, I'm the controller, for sure.
so that's interesting. Karen?
Yeah, well, my score was promoting and then on that edge of controlling, and I
Then-
know I'm
And
controlling.
then
I'm
you
in
started
RN too.
building a
And then my
condo
feedback-
over
My
the,
feedback was controlling.
yeah. And that makes sense,
Controlling with
not only from a
optimism,
leadership
but I-
role,
Yes.
but also, again, being a nurse, it promotes that.
I said controlling, analyzing, and that is what they also said.
Yeah, and that makes sense for what you do, so, okay. Tamar?
I was equal controlling and supporting, and I got the same, so I think probably more controlling, but.
Yeah, and you're gonna start seeing that more and more as you start thinking about it, you're gonna probably see that, and again, good admins, good first generation CEOs tend to be controlling, supporters tend to be HR people, clinical psychologists tend to be, supporters, people in a very, responsive to the EQ kind of space.
My self-assessment was promoting. The majority of the comments that I got were in analyzing.
Is it because you're in quality?
Yes. It's because it's what I do for most
Yeah.
everybody else. I think when we were doing the self-assessment, I was thinking through how I am with my direct reports as well. So they would have a different relationship with people.
I was, for my self-assessment, I was more towards the promoting, kind of borderline supporting, but my feedback was controlling.
So isn't that interesting?
And I also got this from people who work in different departments than me, so
Yeah,
they might see me as in a controlling role.
And so let's talk about what that means for you. That means you who are controllers in the room have a responsibility to speak up, which you know because that's what you do. You also need to be aware that we have supporters in the room and make sure that you are eliciting feedback, which you as good leaders don't necessarily always do because I gotta make that next decision, I gotta go, okay? So that's the feedback for controllers in the room, especially as we go into the mapping. For the analyzers in the room, don't be afraid to go with a majority of your consensus or a majority of your experience. And you can even couch it that way to be respectful to yourself. In my experience, or in this role, or in the last 15 years, and be able to have a comfort level in that space. For promoters, you are going to be very shiny object. Be aware that we've got other folks in the room who don't share our enthusiasm. So you want to make sure that what you're saying is respectful to the controllers and the analyzers, because you saying, let's create a mobile app and we'll do everything online and we don't need any of this anymore is promoter, big picture, but at the same time we need to make sure, promoters need to make sure that we're really grabbing some of the other folks. And then supporters tend to not be the folks that speak up. So for folks in the room that are supporters, make sure that your voice is heard because this is a frank, candid space and you can be frank and candid and still be a good citizen. So anybody have questions, comments, suggestions, or complaints on this? We'll bring this up one more time as we start going through future state, but really make it top of mind so that we can use it robustly when we're doing our exercise, okay? Thank you. Julio?